I had just finished the last sip of my perfectly brewed coffee when the world decided to remind me that even paradise can't stay quiet for long. After 20 years building custom furniture for the Silicon Valley elite, I'd finally sold my company and used the money to buy my late grandfather's 65-acre ranch in Northern Oregon. The centerpiece of this land? A 5-acre lake, so clear it looked like glass in the morning sun. But the true crown jewel was my houseboat, a floating work of art I'd handcrafted in my spare time for 2 years. This wasn't some rusty pontoon with cheap plywood walls. This was a 35-foot masterpiece built from hand-picked cedar and reclaimed redwood, hurricane-proof glass all around, polished brass railings, and a deck that smelled like the forest my grandfather loved. Lowering it into the lake had felt like lowering my soul into water, the final puzzle piece that made everything feel whole. For exactly 37 minutes, it was bliss. Then came the dust cloud. Living on a private road has perks, but you can see trouble coming from a mile away. 2 police cruisers and a sleek white Jaguar behind them raised enough dust to choke my crows. I stood on my dock, coffee mug paused halfway to my lips as the parade skidded to a stop. The older cop, badge reading Sergeant Daniels, stepped out first. His face said he'd rather be anywhere else. "Morning, sir. We got a call about a possible illegal structure and noise complaint." Before I could answer, the Jaguar's door flung open like a villain reveal in a soap opera. Out stepped Bianca Lancaster, 55, dripping money from her diamond earrings to her too-perfect manicure. Her hair was platinum blonde, styled so tight it looked painful. Her white pantsuit probably cost more than my truck. She stabbed a finger at my houseboat so violently I thought she'd sprain her shoulder. "There it is. Arrest him for aesthetic terrorism." Sergeant Daniels sighed so deeply I thought he'd deflate. "Ma'am Lancaster, we can't arrest people for building well-crafted structures on private property." Her blue eyes cut through him like a laser. "This abomination is an eyesore. It ruins the view from Lancaster Marina. My customers pay premium rates to see tranquility, not this floating junkyard." I couldn't help myself, I laughed. "Bad idea." Her face turned purple. "Ma'am, I'm Lucas Graham," I said, extending a hand she didn't take. "This is my ranch. My lake. Here's my deed. Last month's survey my ID. That junkyard is a hand-built houseboat on my private water. Not part of your HOA. Not connected to public waterways. So with all due respect, I can build a floating castle if I want." The younger cop, Deputy Miller, bit his lip trying not to laugh. Bianca was shaking so hard her earrings rattled. She hissed at me. "You have no idea what you're messing with, Mr. Graham. The Ridgeview Shores HOA has strict standards about what can be visible from community spaces, including the marina. I'll have you fined $1,000 a day until that thing is gone." She spun back to her Jaguar, pausing to glare at the houseboat with an odd flicker in her eyes. Fear, maybe? Recognition? Sergeant Daniels handed back my papers with an apologetic shrug. "Looks good, Mr. Graham. Sorry to bother you." As the cruisers pulled away, Deputy Miller leaned closer. "Word to the wise, Bianca Lancaster runs Ridgeview Shores like her private fiefdom. Her husband, Peter Lancaster, drowned in a boating accident 5 years back. She's been a wreck since. Be careful, sir." By the time the dust settled, my phone buzzed. Slipped under my door was a letter with HOA letterhead, which was amusing since I wasn't a member. Notice of fine, $1,000 per day for emotional distress and community aesthetic damage. Signed, Bianca Lancaster. Clipped to it was a note, handwritten in sharp script. "This is your final warning. Remove it or face consequences. History won't repeat itself." History? What history? I Googled Lancaster Marina accident. No news, but a financial blog caught my eye. Lancaster Marina facing foreclosure. $1.8 million in debt. Another article. Bianca Lancaster refuses multiple offers to sell failing marina. I stared out at my floating masterpiece, bobbing peacefully on my lake. Bianca hadn't declared war over a boat. She declared war because she was drowning. And I'd just shown up with my sail up and money to burn. Well then, if she wanted to fight, I'd show her what a fight looked like. Next morning brought 3 things. Another fine under my door. An anonymous note. You don't know what secrets you've dredged up. A knock at 7 a.m. so desperate it rattled my walls. An old man stood there, glancing over his shoulder like a spy. Henry Collins, he whispered. I live 3 doors down from the Marina. Can I come in? She's got cameras everywhere. I made him coffee. He pulled out a battered tablet and showed me grainy video. Bianca, 5 years ago, at her husband's funeral, swearing there'd never be another houseboat on this lake. Peter Lancaster drowned off his own boat. Official story says drunk accident. But he was an Olympic-level swimmer, Henry murmured. Bianca's used the HOA to destroy anyone who so much as floated a dinghy. 12 families forced to sell and move. Look at this. She's been bleeding HOA funds to prop up the Marina ever since. He showed me bank statements. $10,000 here, $15,000 there. All marked as community improvements, all funneled into Lancaster Marina's sinking hole. Henry leaned closer. She's got 1 week left. The bank forecloses if she doesn't pay $1.8 million. She refused 3 buyout offers last month. She'd rather burn it to the ground than sell. I stared at him, my mind racing. I'd build a company from 0 to 7 figures. I knew a hostile takeover when I saw one. Thank you, Henry. You just gave me everything I needed. By noon, I was on the phone with my old lawyer, Mark Reynolds, the best shark I knew. Mark, it's Lucas. You still know folks at Riverbend Bank? He chuckled. I do. What? Because I want to buy Lancaster Marina. Before Bianca even knows it's for sale. I could hear his grin. You magnificent bastard. I'll set it up. Be ready tomorrow night. Bring a cashier's check. 24 hours later, the plan clicked into place perfectly. Bianca called an emergency HOA meeting at 8 p.m. to push new fines and bans. At the same time, I sat quietly in the bank manager's office with a cashier's check for $2 million. Mark handled the paperwork. I signed my name in neat, calm strokes. At 8 p.m. sharp, Lancaster Marina, Bianca's pride, power base, and personal fortress, belonged to me. Back at the HOA meeting, Bianca was mid-rant, my houseboat projected behind her like a wanted poster. That monstrosity traumatizes residents and devalues our homes. I propose increasing the fine to $2,000 per day and banning all houseboats, effective immediately. I raised my hand. May I say something? The whole room turned. Her eyes burned holes through me. You? How dare you even? I stood calm as ever. I apologize, Mrs. Lancaster. I truly didn't understand the pain this brought you. But I've made a decision tonight that should resolve everything. She froze. What decision? I pulled out my phone, casting the bank confirmation email to the big screen. Foreclosure sale completed. Buyer, Lucas Graham. Asset, Lancaster Marina. Gasps filled the room. Bianca's face went chalk white. You're lying, she stammered. I stepped closer. I'm not. The bank owns it now. Or rather, I do. Silence. Then Henry stood, voice shaking. You've abused us for years, Bianca. It's over. Phone snapped photos. Neighbors whispered in awe. Bianca's eyes darted like a cornered animal. You don't understand. That Marina has secrets. Dark secrets my husband died to keep buried. You'll regret this. She lunged for the podium, but 2 detectives, called by Henry hours earlier, stepped forward. Mrs. Lancaster, you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and abuse of HOA funds. Handcuffs clicked. Her diamond bracelets clinked against metal. As they let her out, she turned back, eyes wild. You think you've won, Graham? You bought a curse. That lake hides everything I try to bury. You'll wish you'd burned that houseboat to the ground. And just like that, she was gone, dragged away as her little kingdom dissolved in front of 50 stunned neighbors. 3 weeks later, Freedom Point Marina, my new name for the place, was full of laughter and sales again. Families that had been driven out brought back their boats free of charge for a year. Detectives reopened Peter Lancaster's death as suspicious. New evidence surfaced from old files Bianca thought she destroyed. The lake that had been poisoned by power was finally healing. As for my houseboat, it sat on the lake, catching golden sunsets, untouched by fines or threats. A floating symbol that tyrants can't control dreams forever. Henry visits every Friday with pie and gossip. He once whispered, "You didn't just buy Marina, son. You bought our freedom." Maybe so, but to me it's simpler than that. I protected my dream with the same care I built that houseboat and exposed the rot that tried to sink it. Somewhere deep below, the lake still keeps secrets, but now they belong to the light. And that's all the justice I'll ever need.